Good morning everyone. Welcome to the video tutorial of class 5 science. So students, in our previous video lecture we have discussed about chapter number 4, that is matter and material. Okay, so now today we will start our new chapter. Before starting this chapter, just see the screen and tell me which natural calamity is this. Yes, this is an volcanic eruption. Okay, and due to this volcanic eruption the lava comes out on the earth's surface. Okay, and this lava is very hot. This is very hot due to because this is a superheated lava, so this is very hot. And when this lava cools down and solidify, it converts into rocks. Okay, after cooling and after solidification of lava, this lava converts into different types of rocks. So today our topic is rocks, soil and mineral. Okay, and new chapter is chapter number 5, that is rocks, soil and mineral. In this chapter, first of all, we will discuss about the different layers of earth and then we will move forward. Okay, so let's start. Earth is a planet on which we live. Our earth is approximately 4,000 miles from surface to center, and earth is made up of 4 distinct layers. Okay, so earth is a planet on which we live and earth is made up of 4 distinct layers. First one is crust, second is the mantle, third is the outer core, and the fourth one is the inner core. Okay, so let's study them one by one. So these are the 4 distinct layers of earth. This one is the crust, the second one is mantle, the third one, this yellowish one, is the outer core, and this one is the inner core. So these are the 4 distinct layers of earth. Okay, so what is the earth crust? It is the first layer, consists of about 10 miles of rock and loose material. So the first layer consists of about 10 miles of rocks and loose material. That is why the earth crust is very thick. And what we see as soil and mountain is the only surface of the earth which is also called as the crust. So it is the outermost layer of the earth and it consists of about 10 miles of rocks and loose material. Okay, you can see here that the earth crust is very thick, right? Now the next layer after the earth crust is mantle. The earth's mantle. If we look this earth mantle from the nearby surface, so it appears like this. So the traveling beyond the earth's crust, we can see the earth mantle, and the mantle extends to a depth of approximately 1800 miles and is made up of a thick solid rocky substance. Rocky substance means it is made up of rocks. Okay, so the next layer is the earth mantle. Now the next layer after the earth's mantle is the inner core. Sorry, not inner core, it's outer core. Okay, so the next layer is the outer core. So this is the earth's outer core. Traveling still deeper within the earth, the outer core extends to a depth of around 3,000 miles beneath the surface, and the outer core is made up of the superheated lava. So this is the outer core and it is made up of superheated lava, and it is believed that the most of the superheated lava is made up of iron and nickel. So mostly on the earth's surface iron and nickel is found. Okay, so the next layer after the Earth's outer core is the Earth's inner core. Now the next is the Earth's inner core. The Earth's inner core extends up to 900 miles inward towards the center of the Earth, and the inner core is a solid ball of mostly iron and nickel. As you know that the Earth's outer core is made up of mostly iron and nickel, and the inner core is also made up of iron and nickel. Okay, and due to the superheated lava, this inner core looks or appears like this. It appears like a solid ball of mostly iron and nickel. So these are the four layers of the Earth. First one is the crust, next is the mantle, the third one is the Earth's outer core, and the last one is the Earth's inner core. Okay, so this is all about the different layers of Earth. Now let's move forward. Our Earth's crust is made up of many elements. There are 90 known elements that exist in the Earth crust, and these elements combine with one another in a number of natural ways, creating molecules known as minerals. So the Earth crust is made up of different elements, okay, like iron, aluminium, cobalt, uranium, thorium, tungsten. All these are the elements that exist in the Earth crust, and these elements combine with one another in a number of natural ways which are known as and form a molecules which are known as minerals. So basically, what are the minerals? Minerals are the chemical substances which are made up of different mixtures. Okay, so how can we define minerals? Minerals are the chemical substances which form different types of rocks, and all rocks are made up of minerals, and their composition varies from the rocks to rocks, and there are so many uses of minerals. So we can use minerals in many ways. For example, the diamond is also a mineral. It is used in cutting tools, blades, and beautiful gemstones. It is also used to make different types of jewelries. Diamond is the hardest substance or the hardest mineral, that is why it is used in making cutting tools. Next is the fluorite. Fluorite is used in pottery, ceramics, and the plastics. Graphite. Graphite is used in pencils, like the lead of the pencil is made up of graphite. Now the next is talc. Talc is used in baby powder in gymnastic to grip the bars. All the baby powders like the Johnson baby powder are made up of this talc. That is why they are known as talcum powders, because they are made up of talc. Okay, so there are so many uses of minerals. So now we know that the minerals are the chemical substances which form rocks. Okay, so now let's move forward and let's discuss about the rocks. Many of the materials we use every day are made from different kinds of rocks. Depending on the way they are formed means how the rocks are forming by themselves in a natural way. Rocks are grouped as the igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and the metamorphic rocks. Okay, so let's discuss about the igneous rocks first. So the first rocks are the igneous rocks. Okay, and these are the oldest of all the rocks on the earth crust. Okay, it has got its name from a Latin word that is ignis, and the meaning of the ignis is pertaining to fire. So it means these igneous rocks are basically related to the fire. These rocks are formed by the cooling and hardening of the hot and molten rock present in the earth's core, which are called magma. So how these igneous rocks formed? Whenever any volcanic eruption takes place anywhere, so the magma rises above the earth's surface as lava. Okay, and when this lava cools down and solidifies, they form the igneous rocks. So the magma or the lava upon cooling solidifies into a type of rock which is known as igneous rocks. So as we all know that the earth's core is made up of molten rock, and whenever a volcano erupts, so this molten rock flows out, and when this molten rock flows out and when it later cools and solidifies, so they form the igneous rocks. So inside the earth, the molten rock is known as magma, and when it flows out onto the surface, so it is known as lava. Okay, so these rocks are made of two or more minerals like mica, feldspar, quartz, and these igneous rocks may be light or dark colored, fine grained, or maybe glassy. There is one most common igneous rock which is known as granite. So granite is the most common igneous rocks. So now let's discuss few examples of igneous rocks. So there are so many examples of igneous rocks, or you can say that there are so many types of igneous rocks like granite, pumice, basalt. All these are the igneous rocks, but granite is the most common igneous rock. So the granite is the most common igneous rocks formed by the slow cooling of the lava. How these granite rocks formed? They are formed by the slow cooling of lava on the earth's surface, and it mainly consists of the minerals such as quartz, feldspar, and mica. It is obtained in different colors also depending on the quantity of feldspar present in it. So its color depends upon the quantity of feldspar. For example, granite can be gray in color, it may be pink, okay, it may be black also, and sometimes it may be dark colored. And these granites are used to make historical monuments, construction of buildings. They are also used for making different tombs, for the road construction, for the pavement construction. There are so many uses of granite. It is also used for the construction of bridges. Okay, so granite is the most common igneous rock. Now the next igneous rock is basalt. Basalt is a rock which is formed by the rapid cooling and hardening of lava. It is basically formed when the lava cools down quickly and hardens above the ground. It is a fine grained rock made up of tiny crystals. So basalt is a dark colored igneous rock. Okay, this rock is most commonly occurring rock on the earth crust, especially the ocean floor. And this basalt is dark colored fine grained rock which is used as gravel for the road building and for the making of cement also. So there are so many uses of basalt. Now the next rock is pumice. Pumice is also one of the example of igneous rocks which is formed by the quick cooling of the lava which is full of gases. Okay, and its texture is, it is light colored spongy rock, and it is a unique light and porous rock which is formed when the molten lava cools very quickly. And there are so many uses of pumice that it is used in making abrasive cleaners, it is also used in making polishes and lightweight building material. So these are the examples of igneous rock. So now let's move forward and discuss about the sedimentary rocks. So the next is the sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks or the sedimentary word comes from the Latin word that is sedimentum, which is meaning to settle down. Okay, so sedimentary rocks are the rocks which is formed by when the rocks or the mountains broken down into small pieces or when the rocks cut away into smaller pieces by the natural forces such as wind, water, rain, and ice. Okay, so the weathering of the rocks break the big rocks into small rock pieces. Soil erosion occurs due to the action of wind and water, and soil and small pieces of rock get deposited in the water bodies such as river or seas and settle down to form layers which is known as sediments. Okay, so what are sediments? When the small pieces of the rock such as pebble, gravel, sand, clay tumble down the rivers and streams, so these rock pieces gets deposited into a new place where they settle down, okay, and begin to form flat layers. So these are known as sediments, and over a long period of time the repeated deposition of sediments occur, and ultimately these layers transform into a solid rock which is known as sedimentary rock. So the more and more sediments pile up and the layers harden and form sedimentary rock. After piling up of the sediments, the layers harden and these layers form the sedimentary rocks. Okay, and there are so many examples of sedimentary rock like sandstone, limestone, shale, conglomerate, all are the examples of the sedimentary rock. So basically the sedimentary rocks are formed when the rocks or the mountains are broken down or cut away into smaller pieces by the natural forces. The natural forces are the wind, water, rain, and ice. Okay, so these are the sedimentary rocks. Now let's take some examples of sedimentary rocks. There are so many examples like conglomerate, sandstone, shale, and limestone. Okay, all these are the examples of sedimentary rock, or you can say these are the types of sedimentary rocks. So the first example of sedimentary rock is sandstone. Sandstone is a soft rock made of sand particles that is cemented together. It mostly contains quartz grains. So how the sandstone formed? Sandstone are formed by the grains of when the grains of the sand cemented together, and it mostly contains the quartz grain. It is found in red color, pink color, brown, and the yellow color. And these sandstone are used in constructions. Okay, so the main use of sandstone is that it is used for making pavements, roofs, and floors. The Red Fort and the Qutub Minar in Delhi were built using these red sandstone. This is the Red Fort and the Qutub Minar. Both of them are made of red sandstone by using red sandstone. Okay, so now the next example of sedimentary rock is conglomerate. Conglomerate is made of round pebbles, gravel, and sand which are cemented together. Okay, so how these conglomerate formed? They are formed by the cementing of rocks, pebbles, gravels, and stones, and it is gray or orange in color. It has uneven texture. They are of different colors and they have coarse grained rocks. These are the examples of the conglomerate. Okay, and these conglomerate are used for as a decorative material for making ornaments, and sometimes they are used as construction material also. So they are used for polishing ornaments, or it is used in construction. Now the next type of sedimentary rock is limestone. Limestone is made of a mineral called calcite which is also present in animal shells. It is available in grey and white colors. Okay, so this is the limestone, and how these limestone form? They are mainly formed by the mineral or from the mineral calcium and from the shell of the animals. They are white and grey colored, having fine grained soft rock. Okay, and there are so many uses of limestone also. They are used in the manufacture of brick, they are used in the manufacture of glass, they are also used in the manufacturing of cement. Okay, so these limestone has so many uses, like they are used for making building materials also, They are used for making roads, glass, toothpaste, whitening paper, cement, etc. Okay. Now the next type of sedimentary rock is shale. Shale is made of solidified clay and mud which form the layers, and it is used for making tiles, bricks and cement due to its high clay content. Okay, so the shale is formed from the solidified clay and its texture is grey colored or fine grained rock that exists in thin layers. And there are so many uses of shales, like it is used to make tiles, it is used to make bricks, and it is also used for making cement. Okay, so this is all about the sedimentary rocks. Now the next type of rocks are metamorphic rocks. So the next type of rocks are metamorphic rocks. Meta means change and the morpho means form. So as the name suggests, there is a change in the form of igneous and sedimentary rocks which form metamorphic rock. So the rocks that are formed by the change in the formation of pre-existing rocks like the igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks or even other metamorphic rocks are known as metamorphic rocks. These rocks are formed when the igneous and sedimentary rocks that have been buried deep inside the earth undergo changes due to the intense heat and pressure present there. So if we increase the temperature or pressure of the igneous and sedimentary rocks, so we get the metamorphic rocks, and these metamorphic rocks are very hard and tough rocks. Okay, so these igneous rocks are formed by the magma or the cooling and solidification of magma. Sedimentary rocks are formed by the basically by the weathering of rocks. Okay, and metamorphic rocks are formed if the heat and the pressure increased. If the pressure of the igneous and sedimentary rocks increased, so these rocks convert into metamorphic rocks. Okay, and these metamorphic rocks are also of different types. So let's discuss them one by one. So the first metamorphic rock is gneiss. Gneiss is formed from granite. So gneiss is a metamorphic rock which is formed from the igneous rock called granite. So if the temperature and pressure of granite is increased, so this granite converts into gneiss. So the igneous granite is an igneous rocks, and due to the increased temperature and pressure, this granite converts into gneiss, which is a metamorphic rock. So basically the transformation of granite rock along with different materials form gneiss rock, and the texture of this gneiss rock is they are coarse texture with irregular bands of different color, and this gneiss is used as the building material and for other structural purposes also. Now the next type of metamorphic rock is quartzite. Quartzite is also a metamorphic rock which is made from sandstone and contains high pressure of quartz mineral. It is an extremely hard rock. It finds wide application in glass and ceramic industries. It is used in most of the watches and jewelries also. So there are so many uses of quartzite, like they are used for making ceramics, they are used for making glass, they are used for making jewelries, and also used for making other ornaments. And the texture is they are crystalline, they are light colored or yellow to brown colored rock. Okay, now the next type of metamorphic rock is slate. So slate is basically made from shale, which is a sedimentary rock. So the slate is formed by the transformation of shale, and it can be broken into thin layers and is used in making bricks, cement, blackboards and slates. So there are so many uses of slate, like they are used for making roofs, they are used for making pavements, they are used for making blackboards, they are used for making cement. So many uses. Okay, now the next type of metamorphic rock is marble. So So the marble is formed from the limestone. The Taj Mahal, one of the most beautiful monument, is made of white marble, and it is widely used in making floors, statues, and ornamental objects. It shines on being polished. So the Taj Mahal, which is the one of the most beautiful monument, is also made up of marble. And marble is the transformation of limestone. They are the texture of marble is they are granular, coarse textured, and they are light colored rock which are used for making different statues for architectural and ornamental purposes, and they are also used for making different floors and objects, ornamental objects. Okay, now the next type of metamorphic rock is gneiss. We have discussed about this, but now we will discuss about this in detail. So gneiss is formed from the granite, and it has different kinds of minerals in it, which gives it a stripped or the streaked look like this, as you can see in this picture also. And this gneiss is used as a building stone and for making other structures. Okay, so there are so many metamorphic rocks like gneiss, marble, slate, quartzite, all are the metamorphic rocks. So we have three types of rock. First one is igneous rocks, second is sedimentary rocks, and the third are the metamorphic rocks. So we have discussed about all three types of rocks. We have also discussed about the minerals and the uses of minerals. So we will revise minerals once again, and then we will move forward. Okay, so minerals are the elements found in rocks. Okay, and they are mostly solid. Minerals are formed due to the natural processes occurring within the earth. So minerals are the elements which are found in rocks, and they are mostly solid in nature. Minerals are formed due to basically they are formed by the natural processes. The rocks that we pick up from a beach, from a mountain, or from a garden, they all may differ in their hardness, texture, color, and composition, but all are made up of mixtures of chemical substances, and these chemical substances are known as minerals. Okay, and these rocks are made of two or more different minerals that are either cemented together or squeezed and heated together, or they are melted and cooled together. Okay, so now I hope you have understood everything about the minerals. And these minerals are of two types. First one is metallic mineral, and the second one is the non-metallic minerals. So let's discuss them also. So what are metallic minerals? The minerals that are used to obtain certain metals are known as metallic minerals or ores. For example, hematite is used to extract iron, bauxite is used to extract aluminium, and calamine is used to extract in a similar way. So the metals such as gold, silver, and platinum are also extracted in a similar way. So all these are the metallic minerals. And what are non-metallic minerals? Non-metallic minerals are those minerals which do not yield any new product on melting. Okay, and they are not so hard and have no shine. For example, coal, salt, clay, petroleum, all these are the non-metallic minerals. So now we have discussed about different types of rocks. We have discussed about different types of minerals. Now one more topic is left, that is soil and soil profile, and also about the types of soil. So let's discuss them also. Soil makes up the outermost layer of our planet. Our planet is Earth, and the outermost layer of Earth is soil. It is basically a mixture of mineral particles of different shapes and size, and the topsoil is the most productive soil layer. So the top layer of the soil is the topsoil. The topmost layer of the soil profile is the topsoil. and this is the layer where the plant grows and is the layer we see. So the layer of the earth which we can see is the outermost layer, that is the, or the top layer, that is the topsoil, and in this layer the plants grow and we can easily see this layer. Okay, so the outermost layer is the topsoil. It also includes living organism, dead remains of plants and animals, air and water. Soil varies a lot from one part of the earth to another. As you all know that soil varies a lot from the one part of the earth to the another part of the earth. So if you dig deep into the soil, so we will find different layers of soil. Some layers are dark colored, some are light colored, and these layers of soil together make the soil profile. Soil profile basically consists of 3 layers. Let's discuss them one by one. So this is the soil profile, and the O is the organic matter. So this layer is the organic matter, and the material formed by the decay of living organism, both plants and animals, that is known as organic matters. What is organic matter? Organic matter is the material which is formed by the decay or the dead plants and the animals. Okay, and the remains of these dead plants and animals become food for the bacteria, soil and bacteria, fungi and algae in the soil. So the bacteria, fungi and algae which are present in the soil, they usually eat this organic matter. Okay, so this organic matter is the food for the bacteria, fungi and algae. Now the next is the A. A is the topsoil. This portion, this part A, this is the topsoil, and it usually contains the fine particles of sand and clay, a lot of organic matter or humus and air. So this layer consists of the sand and clay particles, organic matter, or organic matter are also known as humus, and air also. So this is the topmost layer which is the nearest to the surface, and it is loose, soft and dark in color. And why the topsoil is dark in color? Because humus is present in it. So due to the presence of the humus, this layer is dark in color, and this humus is rich in nutrients and it is very good for plants. Okay, so it contains humus and it gives all the necessary nutrients to the plants growing in it. It is wet too, so the topsoil is wet. And the topsoil is also known as the most fertile layer of the soil because humus is present in it, which provides the necessary nutrients to the plant growing in it. Okay, and the roots of the many grasses and plants are found on this layer, on the topmost layer, and it is also the home to the various animals like the earthworm, insects, etc. Because all the animals like insects, earthworm, they live on this layer. Okay, and the humus content of the soil varies from place to place. Depending upon the amount of the humus, the soil color also varies. Okay, so if the amount of the humus is high, so the soil is dark in color, and if the amount of the humus is low, so the color of the soil is light. Right, now the next layer is B, is called the subsoil. So this part, this B, this is known as the subsoil. This is the middle layer in the soil profile, and it is present just below the topsoil. Okay, like the topsoil, it contains variable amount of sand, silt and clay with small pebbles, but this layer lacks humus in it. The topmost layer contains a very good amount of humus, but the subsoil do not have the sufficient amount of humus. So that is why this layer is light in color. So it is the layer below the topsoil and contains the large bits of rocks. It contains very little organic matter, which is also known as humus, but it has water. And the roots of some big trees grow down into the subsoil. Okay. So due to the absence of humus, this layer of soil is light in color. Now let's move forward. Now the next layer, which is at the bottom of the soil profile, is known as the bedrock. So the sea is called as the bedrock, and it has a large basis of rock. Okay, that is why this is known as a bedrock, because it consists of a layer which is made up of big rocks, and there is not much water here. So the rocks which are present at the bedrock are partially weathered rocks, because the layer does not allow water to pass through them. That is why this layer is dry, and it is quite deep inside the earth. Okay, so all the groundwater gets collected above this layer, right? So this layer O, this is known as organic matter. A is known as the topsoil, B is known as the subsoil, and the C is known as the bedrock. So this is about the soil profile. Let's move forward. Next is types of soil. So there are three main types of soil. These are sandy soil, clay soil, and the loamy soil. So first one is the sandy soil. In sandy soil, the soil particles are large in size. They have more space between the particles filled with air, and they do not retain water and are light and dry. So this is the sandy soil. This soil contains the particles of soil which are large in size. They have more space between the particles, and they do not retain water. That is why they are light and dry. Now the next type of soil are the clay soil. In clay soil, the particles are smaller. They have less space between the particles. They also retain more water, and they are heavy and wet. They are heavy because they can retain water, and they are wet also because they can retain water, right? So sandy soil and clay soil are different from each other. Now the next type of soil are the loamy soil. In loamy soil, the particle size is between those of sand and clay. Okay, in sandy soil, the particles are large in size, and in clay soil, the particles are smaller in size. But in loamy soil, the particles are comparatively smaller than the sandy soil, and they are larger than the clay soil. Okay, so they are in between those of sand and the clay. And this loamy soil also contain humus and has the right water holding capacity. So this is the best soil for the growth of the plant. Okay, so there are three types of soil: the sandy soil, clay soil, and loamy soil. I hope you have understood this chapter very well. So with this, we have reached to the end of this chapter. Thank you, and see you in the next video.